Welcome to Airtime with the Airport Explorers Club, brought to you by the Greater Toronto Airports Authority and Toronto Pearson Airport. Okay, today our guest is Darin. Welcome, Darin. Hi.
Hi, good afternoon.
What do you do at the airport?
Well, Malka, my job is, I always say it's a complicated job, but really it's quite simple. I'm the Director of Baggage Services, which means that I move bags with people, with passengers. So at the airport, we have kilometers and kilometers long of baggage systems. So you can just imagine when you go to the airport, you check in a bag, the bag goes into our system, it then travels through a bunch of different processes for security, and then it goes to where the baggage handlers will put the bag into the plane, and then off it goes to your destination. And on the other side, when the bags come back, then those bags flow back into the airport and make sure that all of those, where you pick up your bags, we call them carousels, where you pick them up, that they're all assigned well, and that passengers again flow with their bags and get them out of the airport. So at the end of the day, if every passenger gets their bag, I've done my job.
Okay. What do you like about your job?
Probably the best thing I like about my job is the people that I work with. I have my own team of people that actually do the work. I work very closely with our airline customers, like the Air Canadas, WestJets, Air Transat, all the international carriers. And the government agencies, the people that screen the bags, and the customs facilities that customs process the bags through. So in order for me to do my job, I have to have all that stuff working together. And it's almost like a team sport. So therefore, when everything goes together and everyone is playing their position on the team, then we win. And most days we win very well together, and that's the fun part about my job, that it's a team effort.
What is the strangest thing anybody has ever tried to bring on an airplane?
Strangest thing. So I think maybe it's not this, it is strange. So I'll tell you a bit of a story. So not in my current job, but in one of my jobs previously, I was on shift as an operations manager. And I had a call one day that there was a dog running around on the apron where the planes are. So there was people out looking for it, and they couldn't quite capture this dog because dogs sometimes get scared with the noises when they're trying to be transported in these large cages that go in the belly of the airplanes. So I went to see what was going on, to see if I could help. And so I decided, well, I'm going to go see if I can get the owner of the dog to maybe, try to calm the dog down and get them to come over. So we went up and got the owner. I put them into my truck that I had, and we went where the dog was, because as soon as someone would go to try to coax the dog back in, the dog would run a bit further away. So I got the owner, and as we pulled up, there was the biggest dog I've ever seen. Do you know the dog Marmaduke from the comics?
No.
It's a bit of an older comic, but it's a very large Great Dane. It's like the size of a small horse almost. So this big dog was lying there in the grass. And so the owner finally came for the owner. We put the dog in the back of my truck, and it literally took up the whole back seat. It lied from one end to the other. It was that big. So brought the dog back to the airplane. The owner calmed it down, put it back in the cage, and then the owner went back up to go on the airplane. Not sooner than 5 minutes later, the dog had opened the cage again and taken off again. So I went back again, picked up the owner. We drove out again, and oddly enough, the dog went back to the exact same spot that it went to last time. So we went out, put the dog back in the truck, and then this time we brought it back. They used some extra ties and some tape to hold the dog in. So then the passenger went on the way, the dog went on the flight. But yeah, it's probably the strangest thing I've had to deal with at the airport as far as things in the belly of a plane and bags.
That's funny. What happens to bags when they are left behind or not claimed?
So first of all, every bag has a tag on it. And the tag has all your personal information. So it might say Malka, and maybe you're traveling to Orlando, Florida, and it would have your information. So if we find a bag with a tag on it, that's actually quite easy. We would then put it into our system, it then reads the tag and it would sort to where it's going. So that would be an easy lost bag to find. However, there are times when we may find a bag that has no tag on it. Maybe the tag got ripped off, so now we have a bag that has no information on it at all. So sometimes people will make a small tag on their bag and write their names. That's very important because that way we can phone you and let you know. But some people don't do that. And then we may have, for example, a black bag that is a normal looking suitcase, the normal weight. And then what happens is there's a worldwide system that the airline or ground handler will then open up the bag and then identify things that are inside the bag. And then that gets put onto a system where it looks for matches that says, hey, we found a bag with a pair of red shoes and a teddy bear in it. And then if someone lost that same type of bag, it would then match it up. So that's the way if they have no tag on it. So if I tell you a bit of a trick, you should always put your name on your bag, of course. But if you don't, if you have something unique in your bag and it was to get lost, then as they try to find it, it'd be easier to find. So if you had, say, example, a pink teddy bear with a yellow shirt on it, if you put that in your suitcase and it was to get lost, that might show up and you'd be able to find it easier. But most bags don't get lost. There's only a very, very small number of bags get lost every day.
Do you remember the first time you flew on a plane? What do you remember?
I do. It was a long time ago. I went to London, England with my grandmother. So my grandmother was from a city called Liverpool in just north of London in England. And she took me there to see some of her relatives, so her sister and some of her cousins. And so I remember we went there late at night because a lot of the flights that fly to Europe leave in the evening. So I was young, so we sort of took off. I sort of fell asleep. I remember falling asleep sort of half on her lap. Woke up the next morning, and then as we walked through the airport, I heard people with different accents, and it was really amazing to me as a kid that you could fall asleep in one area, you wake up in a whole other part of the world with people with different accents, and it was a great trip.
That's kind of funny. One last question. What do you want everyone to know about the airport?
So I'd like everybody to know that when you travel through the airport, that the people that are there are trying to do the best. I've never met a more passionate group of people. And what I mean by passionate, it means that people love working there, as I said earlier, and they also want to do the best for everyone. And sometimes that can be hard because there are literally millions of people that go through the airport. So I want people to know that we're doing our best to move as we say, we move people, we move planes, and we move bags. And we do that 365 days a year. The airport never closes. It operates every day. We don't even have locks on our front doors, as an example. So we're doing that 365 days a year. A passionate group of people want to move you efficiently and to have a great experience as you go. So that's what I advise them.
Thanks for joining us, Darin. This is Malka for the Airport Explorers Club, over and out.
Thank you. Hope to see you at the airport soon.
Okay. Want to learn more about airports and aviation? Go to airportexplorer.club. And don't forget to check this channel for more videos.